Coming back to the new concept of digital technologies, and we can say that that is artificial intelligence. You must have heard this word uh, quite often, and so we need to understand what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence consists of two words: artificial plus intelligence. When we say artificial, it means that artificial is something which is made or produced by human beings rather than occurring naturally. And artifact is a general term for an item made or given shape by the human, such as tool or the work of art. But what is intelligence? So intelligence is actually, we see that if we have uh, understanding of something through our experiences, and we take the decisions that now in this situation this will be the good thing to do, so that comes under intelligence. So if we give this type of intelligence to the machine or to the artifacts, and they can shape their decisions, they can change their decisions, and they can give us the best result or the best decisions in particular situations, then we can say that machines are developing intelligence. And since that is artificial, that is not the natural intelligence, it is called artificial intelligence. This is in very simple words. So we know that John McCarthy is considered as the father of artificial intelligence and the programming language Lisp, which was used to implement AI products and the projects. And McCarthy is the pioneering figure in artificial intelligence and its development initially, because he invited everybody to the conference, and in the summer conference, and then people who are nowadays the prominent figure in the artificial intelligence, they were part of that conference initially. So if we understand the artificial intelligence and machine learning in general terms, so we can define them as that artificial intelligence is the ability of a digital computer or digital device or any machine uh, or computer controlled robot to perform tasks commonly associated with the intelligent beings. Okay, considering intelligent being as human. And while machine learning is a method of data analysis that automate analytical model building, it is a branch of artificial intelligence based on ideas that systems can learn from data, identify patterns, and make decisions with minimal human intervention. You can understand the artificial intelligence with this example, that automatically in your mailbox you see that there are spam mail and there are mails which are very much important to you. So there are two classifications. So if your mail automatically classify that this is the spam mail or it is not very important to the person, to the user, but the particular email which is important, that is displayed in the inbox, but rest of the mail are given in the or stored in the spam folder. So this classification depends on the pattern analysis to learn from the data based on the previous decisions taken by the user, and accordingly it classify whether the mail is spam mail or the authentic mail which will be useful for the user. So if automatically mail system is doing it, then it is artificial intelligence, coming under artificial intelligence. Now we see how in different ways we can approach the artificial intelligence. So basically what we can have is we can have four cases depending on the situation, that we can have systems that can act rationally, we can have systems that think rationally, we can have systems that think like human, we can have systems that act like human. Okay, so if we have these four divisions of our system working, and we think that when we talk about artificial intelligence, our main purpose is that we want to develop machine in the form of rational agent. Okay, that they should take decisions uh, rationally, objectively. Okay, it is not like that they should always take decision according to the human beings. Okay, because human beings are emotionally driven. So if decision can be wrong or decision can be right under the influence of the emotions. So our main purpose of artificial intelligence everywhere is that artificial intelligence think about developing rational agent, not emotional agent. Rational agent, which the agent which perform or take decisions rationally. Now, when we say that our machine is intelligent and it can take its decision on its own, how can we say that machine is intelligent? So we need to have some test, or we need to have some understanding or measurement, so that we can say that if machine is able to perform this task, then we can say that machine is intelligent, or machine is performing as intelligent as human beings are. So one of the famous figure in artificial intelligence, uh, Turing. Alan Turing proposed this test that is called Turing test. So in this test, what happens that we have three entities. One is computer, one is evaluator, other one is human being. And evaluator does not have the information about whether B or C are computer. Which one is computer, which one is human. What evaluator does is that evaluator gives the written instructions to both of them and then get the output. If on the basis of the output evaluator can tell correctly which one is computer and which one is human, then we say that machine C or computer C is not intelligent, because evaluator without any information, just on the basis of the obtained answer, was able to identify which one is computer and which one is human. But if evaluator is not able to identify if B is human or C is human, or C is computer or B is computer, then it means that computer C has performed so well that it has confused the evaluator in identification which one is computer and which one is human. So in that case we say that the computer has passed the Turing test and it has developed the capacity, intelligent ability, uh, similar to the human beings. Okay, so this is a very simple understanding of the Turing test. Next comes to the growth of intelligence. If we see that experts say the rise of the artificial intelligence will make most people better off over the next decade, but many have concern about how advances in AI will affect and what it means to human. You can say that in green line, green plot, that is the human intellect which we are talking about, or that is the human intellect which we are able to develop. But after 1950, this red part is actually the artificial intelligence, or intelligence developed in human, and the intelligence developed in machines, robots and artifacts or items. So if we see that people are now claiming that around 2030 machines will be able to generate intelligence that will be of similar to the human intellect, and they can soon surpass the human intelligence. So what will happen? If that happens, then we will say that this is the moment of the singularity, and now machines have reached beyond the human intellect. So now machines have become transhuman. So that is the threat which everybody is talking about, starting from the Bill Gates, Elon Musk, that we don't know how early we can reach to that phase, or how means how much time it will take. But if we reach and everything goes out of control, then situation may be very disastrous for the human race. So that is one aspect of it. So if we see the applications of artificial intelligence, we will see that it is used in robotics, it is used in communication, it is used in programming, it is used in medical sciences, technology, music and gaming. For example, let's take medical science or the health sector. You know that we have radiologists in our hospitals, but if you understand the development done in the radiology and the art with the help of the artificial intelligence, uh, Stanford University with their health department and their health center, they have developed artificial intelligence software which is performing better than the human radiologist. So this has created an impact on the jobs of radiologist, because we always prefer accuracy. So the artificial intelligence which is using so many x-rays and so many things and doing the computer vision tasks, so they are able to perform better than the human, and human error is more as compared to the that particular software. So this is the real news. So we can say that in each field, when AI is being integrated, then things are improving, but it is replacing the human beings. And or you can say that it is actually replacing these type of jobs, but new opportunities are coming. So that is also a debate. We will not talk about it because it is a quite serious debate, and there are various school of thoughts about it. But we will discuss that there are various applications of the AI. AI in healthcare is creating great, AI in gaming, AI in finance, in algorithmic trading, that AI softwares are now helping when to trade, when to not trade, when to sell the stock, when to not sell the stock, depending on the analysis. AI in data security, AI in social media. I have also discussed with you that advertising example. AI in travel and transport, where you can easily identify which hotel is better according to your requirement. Okay, so that thing. AI in automotive industry, like self-driving car. So you can see that AI is a transformational technology which is impacting every aspect of our life, and we are beginning to see new and new achievements and developments in our daily lives. In if we talk about the particular case of AI, then in personalized in classroom, you will see that in 21st century classroom, they will have personalized learning, in which if we have 40 or 60 students, then they don't need to have the similar type of learning, because they have different abilities. So we can customize teaching, we can customize resources, and we can customize the way of interaction with each student according to their personalized attributes. So this will be a very good solution, because it is helping every student according to their needs, and it is improving their performance, their learning abilities, and it is not thinking about that you do not have that IQ, so you cannot learn. But you can learn, because one special package or one special type of learning is required for you, so that will be provided to you. Similarly, intelligent tutoring systems will become part of our 21st century classroom, and we will have adaptive group formations, analyzing the interest of the class students and their understanding. So we will automatically the artificial intelligence, using the data, will automatically form the group, that you will perform better in this group rather than in some other group, so that students do not feel depressed or the lack of confidence. Then automated graded system, real time problem solving assessment, these type of things we will see in 21st century classrooms. If we go and see the applications of artificial intelligence in smart home, then smart energy management, and smart lighting systems, smart security systems. Similarly, the smart industry will come, where automated manufacturing robots will come into picture, automated supply chain management, predictive maintenance sensors, that whenever there is issue of the maintenance, automatically before the failure of the device or the equipment, the sensor will ring the bell, and then automatically that can be managed. Then wearables will be there, then city will become smart with lot of integration of artificial intelligence into the governance process. Like that it will happen. So if we go and we can see that there are so many virtual assistants which are helping us, people around the world right now. We have Google Assistants, then we have Siri from Apple, then Alexa from Amazon, which are virtual assistant, intelligent virtual assistants. You ask them to do something, so they will do that thing according to your requirement. You don't need to move and go there and here. So if your smart home is integrated with them, so automatically they can send the instructions, and that thing can be done. If we talk about the practical impact of the artificial intelligence in management, in entertainment industry, so according to your choices and your understanding which song do you like, you can see the Spotify provide you the songs accordingly. And you see that if you have expressed your interest that this type of movie you like, then Netflix automatically provide you those movie similar those similar type of movies, so that you don't need to search manually and become little bit confused which one to watch. So according to your interest, things are provided to you. And these email, Facebook, predictive search, so everywhere we are using nowadays the artificial intelligence is everywhere, running every aspect of the digital technologies in the background, so that we can have better experience of the things. So now, since our background is complete, so we come to the digital biases and the issues in digital technologies. So first we start. So after discussion of the basic background which we need to discuss the inequality and biases due to digital technologies, we come to the inequalities and gender issues emerged due to data and digital technologies. So first we discuss about the digital divide and gender gap. So in this we can see that India, the gap or inequalities present between women and men regarding their access to or use of ICT is quite large. India is world second largest market for mobile phone with more than 1 billion users, yet women make up only 2% of the internet user in rural India. That is the report of Al Jazeera, uh, with India banning women from owning my mobile phone in 2016. And if we go a little bit deeper, we can see that access across low and middle income countries, 390 million women are unconnected and 184 million fewer women than men own a mobile phone. Graph shows that there is a significant gender gap in mobile ownership and mobile internet use across low and middle income countries. South Asia stands in higher degree of gender inequality. So that is one form of bias that is coming because of the cultural norms or societal norms imposed in our society, that there is a huge gender gap in terms of the access to the ICT resources or the digital technologies, and this form one of the foundation which we'll discuss later on in our case. So we can see that digital divide, if we go through the plot which is displayed in the slide, the digital divide, gender digital divide are not at all same. Gender digital divide persists irrespective of a country's overall ICT access levels, economic performance, income level, or geographic location. The gap may be less or more depending on these parameters, but gap is there. Cultural and institutional constraints help shape how the gender digital divide manifests itself in a country. A one size fits all approach to the issues will not be effective. That is the case which we are observing. The gender digital divide widens as technologies becomes more sophisticated and expensive, enabling more transformational use and impacts. Basic digital access and literacy are necessary but not sufficient conditions for women to meaningfully use information and communication technologies. So you can see that in South Asia, which are very much dark, this says that these are there is huge gender gap in these countries such as Pakistan, Central Asia, Iran, Iraq, India. China is better than India. East Asia is also a little bit better. But in India, Southeast Asia, it is 70%. In Europe, it is less, or you can say the least one. And in Africa, it is 34%. In Middle East, it is 21%. In Latin American countries, it is around 4%. So that is the case related to the gender gap. Now we understand the biases and discrimination in digital space, how it is there. So we can see that discrimination comes in many forms. It can be a cultural discrimination or a social discrimination, economic and technological discrimination. Cultural discrimination you can consider if you take example of India, that there was temple movement here in India where the people from the lower strata of the society belonging to SC and ST, which used to be called Sudras, they were not allowed to enter in the temples. So that type of cultural environment system is there. Although they exist in the society, but they are not part of some rituals and the social systems. And there are social issues also. Then there are economic parameters which also uh, uh, become foundation of the discrimination, and technological access also comes into the picture. So technological discrimination is about more than access to the technology. it is all about how technology treats groups of people as amorphous and cannot distinguish between individuals. For example, if we have a fair skinned person and a person who is not having the fair skin, then how technology uh, treat them, that is comes under technological discrimination. The affects things, this type of discrimination, technological discrimination affects things starting from job applications through incorrect facial recognition to the predictive policing, that we will discuss some of the studies done in these areas. And the effect, if you take the examples of technological discrimination, we can see the effects are numerous, from incorrect suspects identification leading to the wrongful arrest, through continuous prejudice in workplace to an embedding a cycle of poverty and policing increases in areas predicted to be higher crime based on historical police bias. So that human bias which is already there in mind and in the data and in the files of the policing system or the judicial system, if we develop system using that data, artificial intelligence system using that data, then that system, that understanding or the discrimination become part of the technological discrimination, and it becomes very huge and on the large scale. So that is the technological discrimination. So let's understand the technological discriminations one by one, which is actually amalgamation or which are due to the overall development of the softwares using algorithms and artificial intelligence and the data. So combine all these concepts, they contribute to some technological discriminations which we are going to discuss. So first example we take is the one software developed by Amazon. Amazon is an online retailer whose global workforce is 60% male and where men hold 74% of the company's managerial positions. So recently, the company started developing one intelligent recruiting algorithm or the software, so that if any CVs are given to this, then this can understand whether CV is good to be the person who is sending the CV, that is competent enough to work in the Amazon or not. So they developed an intelligent system. So the data that engineers used to create the algorithms were derived from the resume submitted to Amazon over 10 years period, which were predominantly from white males. The algorithm was taught to recognize word patterns in the resume rather than relevant skill sets, and these data were benchmarked against the company predominantly male engineering departments to determine whether an applicant is fit for the job or not. But result was little bit surprising, that AI software penalized any resume that continued the word woman in the text and downgraded the resume of women who attended women colleges, resulting in gender bias. So you can see that this type of tools, if proper representation is not there in the learning part of the tool, then they will incorporate the bias in the functioning of the tool, and it can create an unjust and biased society, or the it can reduce the opportunity of the women who are applying for the Amazon's job. So if we take that how biases are associated with the words, then Princeton University researcher used off-the-shelf machine learning AI softwares to analyze and link 2.2 million words. They found that European names were perceived as more pleasant than those of African Americans, and that the words woman and the girl were more likely to be associated with arts instead of the science and the math, which were most likely connected to the males. In analyzing these word associations in the training data, machine learning algorithms picked up an existing racial and gender biases shown by the humans through the use of these words. If the learned association of these algorithms were used as a part of search engine ranking algorithm or to generate word suggestions as a part of an automated complete tool, it could have a cumulative effects of reinforcing racial and gender biases uh, in our society or in our digital space. So that is the case of gender bias or digital bias in this word association task. If we talk in terms of the online ads which company provides and which company displayed, and one study was done to analyze these situations. Here what happened, that Latanya Sweeney, one of the Harvard University researcher and former chief technology officer at Federal Trade Commission, she found that online search queries for African American names were more likely to return ads that the person from a service that renders arrest record as compared to the ad results for the white males. Okay, so if somebody from the African American name is searching for something, so they will be categorized, or there will be, because of the inherent bias in the system and the data, they will be more associated, and result will be more associated to them of policing, of crime, of poverty. So these type of things were observed in this study. Her research also found that the same differential treatment occurred in micro targeting of higher interest credit cards and other financial products when the computer inferred that subjects were African American despite having similar background for the whites. To understand this thing in simple manner, that if the male person in the male white and the African American uh, black male applied for the credit card and with the similar financial background and similar other things, this is most likely that the algorithm or the model of automated identification of the credit card and its limits will not provide credit card to the Afro-American, or will give the less amount or less credit facility to the African Americans. So that is again a digital bias inherent from the data which we have introduced in our online systems. So if we see in terms of the criminal justice algorithms, there is one software, Compass Correctional Offender Management Profiling for Alternative Sections algorithm, which is used by judges to predict whether the defendant should be detained or released on the bail pending trial, was found to be biased against African Americans because the software was trained on the data in which the majority of the people were African Americans in the USA jails. So, and there were less white males, so it was more favorable towards white male, but it was negatively biased against African Americans. So that is because of this algorithm and the inherent bias in the data. And we, if we are using such type of data sets, then we are actually inheriting or enforcing our human biases in technological tools also. If we see in terms of the facial recognition technology, we see that algorithms powering three commercial available facial recognition software systems were failing to recognize darker skinned complexions. If you see that the two shoplifting arrests were there, but the algorithm provided higher risk to the person who is having you can say darker skin complexions than the white one. So James Rivelli is having risk score 3, but Robert Cannon has risk 6. Okay, although they have the similar background, they have the similar data, they are the similar type of offenders, but because of the data and this unrepresented data of the African American or the white males in the judicial system, it is becoming negatively biased towards one section of the society. It similarly we can see that it is against gender also, that where both one male and one female uh, were compared, then Gregory Lugo having was given risk 1, that person is having less risk as compared to the Mallory Williams, that is shown with risk score 6. So we need to understand that if you are a darkened skin complexion person, and if you are a female, then your risk will become high because your data is not that much represented in the learning period of the algorithm or artificial intelligence, which becomes problematic because it is enforcing the biases, and it is creating gender issues in our technologies. So if we talk in terms of, if we summarize all these things, we can see that algorithms powering generally the most facial recognition training data sets, more than 75% male and more than 80% were white. And with white male photo, software was accurate 99% of the time at identifying the person as male. Uh, Bo-Lomi-Winnie's research, the product error rate for the three facial recognition technology products were less than 1% overall, but increased to 20% in one product and 34% in other two of the facial recognition product when they were identifying the darker skin woman as female. So you can say that these technological tools which we are using to simplify our life and to automate the process, which is the crucial process of whether the person is right or wrong, or whether person should be given bail or not, or it person should be acquitted or not, that is inherently becoming against the woman. And if it is a darker skin woman, then risk is becoming, or it is becoming more inaccurate towards that particular section of the society. If we take, and if we undertake this understanding and apply this understanding in Indian case, so we can say that in India, 65.9% prison inmates are from SC, ST and OBC categories, which is provided by NCRB data. So we can say that if such type of artificial intelligence systems are applied in Indian judicial system or Indian policing system, they will be inherently unjustified towards a majority of the sections which are overrepresented in jails because of the human bias in policing and other things, as have been observed over a period of time by many commissions in that area. So we have to remove these biases, these gender issues in our technological tools, uh, so that they our systems and our technological tools or digital technologies, they becomes justiciable to each and every human being. So now we come to for the discussion of the discrimination and the biases. So there are historical human biases, and there are unrepresented training data set biases. So these historical human biases are because of they are shaped by perceived and often deeply embedded prejudice against certain groups, which can lead to their reproduction and amplification in computer models. Realities will be reflected in computer models, definitely. Human biases can be reinforced and perpetuated without users' knowledge because of the training data. So, and they are also because of unrepresentative training data. Insufficient training data is there in another case of algorithmic bias, lack of diversity among the programmers designing training samples, which can lead to the underrepresentation of the particular group or specific physical attributes. So after going through these problems in these technologies, and because of artificial intelligence, algorithm and the data collection, so we can say that artificial intelligence has, or the presented digital technologies have some gender related problem. So we need to have some feminist perspective in that problem for the solution. And what that mean is that we need to have data feminism and design justice whenever we are developing technology and the software tools which analyze technology from a more critical angle with the intention of creating more equity in technological practice. We need to have feminist data set hand in hand with its creators, because when you give more importance to the male, then more data is created to the male. So we need to have that there should be a balanced data set in which women and male and female both are represented properly, who explore that what intersectional feminist machine learning labeling and training systems would be like and what would be necessary to construct it. And data from American Psychologist Association Center for Workforce Studies shows that women makes up 76% of new psychological doctorates, 74% of early career psychologists, and 53% of the psychology workforce. So if you create a system for the psychology research and for this type of classification artificial intelligence system, then it will be favorable to the woman and it will be negative towards the male community because of the overrepresentation of the data, as you can see. And similarly, according to the US Department in the Labor, Then 96% of the secretaries and administrative assistants are women, while 96% of the firefighters are men. So you can see that data is actually, or the contribution in particular sector is very different. Okay, for one section majority of women may be there, in one domain of the profession majority of men will be there. So we need to have a balanced perspective, so that if we develop any software or the technology tool for that particular section, it becomes gender neutral, and it is away from the biases, and it works as justiciable, provide justice to each and every section of the society. So if you see the use of the gender is AI, then we can say that it is not natural. To create a gender equal world of AI, we need uh, conscientious work from AI research community. We need to recruit and promote more female talent, because there is lack of talent. There is no lack of talent in female, but access to the technology and their access to the higher education is less. We need to find technical solutions for fair and accountable artificial intelligence and digital technologies. We need to have investors who support more female and founders in startups, and we need to create more images of artificial intelligence and robots and digital technologies which are free of gender stereotypes in media. So this all complete my this lecture. Thank you very much for your precious time. If you have any questions, you can ask on mail or connect me on the social media platform which I have shared in the footer of the slides. Thank you very much, everyone.